Ladies and gentlemen,
What are your qualifications?
boys and girls,
And he said, I'm not great, but I used to smoke, but I gave it up because someone told me that it would take 10 years off your life.
now is the time where
And it keeps getting funnier every single time.
myself and Jim are going to speak.
And so the homeowner, he jumps up and he grabs one of the rocks and he
Not again.
there's a it's a walkout. Yeah, right. It's a walkout basement.
Every Friday night.
I hate this neighborhood so much.
Ta-da-da!
Hey, Jim.
Hey, what's going on there, Braden?
I switched it up this time.
Yeah, you did. You didn't say, what do you normally say? You're like,
Well.
I think that's probably your go-to. Well.
How have you been? I haven't seen you in 4 days.
Dude, I couldn't have been better. What a great week.
You had a great week.
We had we had a great episode last week with the great Kat Palmer.
Mm-hmm. And my mom.
And your mom. Dude, I booked your mom. And then, and everyone's like, but that's your sister. I'm like, yeah, but it's his mom. And then we did our first special sode.
Yeah, that special sode was really...
I liked how you came up, because I said the mini-sode, and you said, I'll work on it. And then I saw a special sode.
Yeah, it's just like came up. I was like, all right, that's what I'm going with.
It's a very special episode.
It was a special sode, and
it blew up.
It did really well.
For us, it blew up.
For us, yeah. I mean, we're a
9
small...
fans to like 13.
Yeah, we're a small independent podcast that are growing weekly, and this one in particular,
we blew it up.
We got over 200 listens on throughout all of the kind of world, all the formats, but primarily on Stitcher. We got a lot of follows on Stitcher for some reason.
Because it's easier, they could just click it right there. They don't have to actually download anything.
If I understand, Stitcher is a subscription-based podcast format. So
is it?
Yeah, I thought you had to pay to have Stitcher.
I put someone, I think it was DL.
DL does that. I know that.
And then he put it on ours, and then I just stole that link. So if anyone, we're all stealing his. I hope he didn't have to pay for that.
So maybe not. Then maybe I have a different thing.
Oh, wait, you can't just talk yet. We're not ready for you.
I haven't turned on his mic
what does
yet.
he think? Do you think he can just talk whenever he wants?
He can talk.
Yeah, go ahead, turn it on. Might as well. He's ruined it.
Well, making his triumphant return. Wait.
Okay. Well, wait your turn. Wait your turn. Do you have something better to do right now? Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Let us finish. Jeez, some people's families, dude.
Some people's families. But
I guess I'm just going to argue with everyone today.
Well,
there was a period of time where you'd let me talk, and I didn't have to wait for someone else to invite me to say something. But it's okay.
Making his triumphant return after. He came in like the White Knight.
That's right.
And
covered for a good couple weeks.
And then
it was a good couple of weeks.
Right.
It was a really, honestly, outside of Matthew, probably our biggest guest that we had on.
Who was that?
It was
Darren
Dalton.
I didn't think Darren's a very big guy.
Well, he'll eat you for breakfast.
No, he's a nice guy. He's like a teddy bear, really.
But
he is.
Still, I'm 43
handsome.
And still calls me kid.
Because you're a kid.
Kid at heart, Jim.
Kid at heart. Oh, stop.
Hey, men, take care of business.
He's old as
but
dirt.
We didn't actually introduce him. People are wondering, who is our guest?
Because we've gotten talking twice.
We've got a lot of new fans that probably don't know who Dave is.
For those other 4 that we picked up this week.
Yeah, so we have Dave Stevens.
Hold on. Before you introduce me, I want to say to you.
Yes.
And one thing I've noticed by listening to your show is you guys have great guests.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we
I've
do.
noticed about it. Yes. That you really do. Like, you really ask the people who are really important to show up on your show.
You sound like one of the Beatles right now with Ringo.
So I thought the idea was to be
Irish. You'll come to do the Lucky Charms. You got to get in the Lucky Charms range. Let's find it. Scottish is mad.
What I'm saying, though, is that I think that you really have found a good way to bring on the best guests.
I appreciate that, Dave.
Yeah,
and a lot of people are probably wondering, is like, why does he have an accent right now? Is he going to do this the entire time?
Probably.
And we talked about it in the special so those of you
with Jeff Johnson.
With Jeff Johnson. So if you missed that, and if you're an actor you probably have watched it already. But if you haven't, I suggest going back to watch it because there's a lot of fun. It's a good conversation that we had with him. But we talked about Dave getting in a character, and he's working on his Irish accent.
Hey.
And here you are.
It's funny. I like to personalize the accent. I like to talk in the accent as long as I can before I go perform, so that I don't sound funny to myself, And I asked my little girl, Danny, I said, Danny, so I want to personalize the accent. I want to make sure that, I sound like someone who, even though I grew up till I was, 18 years old in Ireland, I've been in America for at least, 30 years. So I will talk in this accent and, drive her to school and be on our way to school. And she'd say, Dad, you sound like you've been in America for like 4 minutes, Like, why don't you back off a little bit? And I said, thank you, honey.
That's funny.
Them kids.
Well, and it kind of goes back to what we talked with Jeff, is that Dave is doing something that he needs to kind of work on.
What he does.
And if you were to show up on set and they're like, all right, how's your Irish accent? And if you didn't give any time to this.
He's one of those actors. He's like, don't look me in the eyes. Don't anyone compliment me.
No, really? I am? Oh, I didn't know that. I'm going to add that to my game.
No.
What does that accomplish?
No, actually, Dave is one of the most accomplished and one of the highest sought-after actors in town's older brother.
Mm-hmm.
How is Nate?
He's great.
No, Dave is on a roll right now. How many you've coming off of? How many in a row?
Oh, I don't keep track of how many are behind me, but I do try to keep track of how many are in front of me.
And how many you got in front of you?
One.
Well, you're
Which
kind
is
of
why I'm talking like
finishing one.
Well, let's not talk about that. No, I don't want to say anything that I will regret. I'll just say this, though. Behaving like a professional
is important.
Is probably the most important thing. You can, no matter what your job is in this business, whether you're a sound designer, whether you're an actor, whether you're a producer, a director, whatever you do in this business, as far as film goes, be a professional. I tell you what, you're not gonna get rehired if you're an amateur. And then if you try to be the head of the show and you're running the show and you're an amateur on top of it, I don't know what to tell you. You probably shouldn't be running the show. I don't want to say any more.
That's why I let Brady. That's why his name comes first.
Oh yeah, that's because Jim is
Keeps the lights
professional.
on.
I didn't say any words, did I?
No,
I didn't say any
keeps the
names. I didn't say anything.
which is
Brady keeps the lights on.
It's
He's the talent.
we were talking, and Dave came up to me a few months ago and said, "Hey, I didn't really get to talk about me when I was the host."
Hey, I didn't get to talk about.
Did I say that?
Hey, me.
or something around the lines, and I was like, "You're right."
I'm at peace
world
with
needs
talking
more-
about myself.
The world needs more me.
we have a stallion in our stable, and we were never getting to
Never let him gallop.
So
That's very kind of you to say.
so we were
I
able.
agree with you. I'm just saying.
I might have
pointed out.
I might have put words into his mouth there.
You did.
And
I'm actually much more humble than it sounds like from discussing this. Right
That's all right.
But-
Those that are listening, let's go back like we do. Now I'm going to start slipping in his stupid accent.
it's okay. I'm not good enough. I couldn't even try.
All right,
Okay,
so
you're doing good.
So we got to do like we do everyone. So at what point, what movie, what play, what time, at what point in your life did you all of a sudden see something and you went, "That I want to do that"?
Oh, I remember I was playing. I really wanted to be in The Wizard of Oz in my junior high school play. I wanted to be.
Get your face in there.
Really?
Yep.
Why not?
There you go.
Like you're
There
eating
you
it.
go. That's better.
Ouch. I got to play the Munchkin Mayor in the Wizard of Oz when I was in junior high, and I just fell in love with it, and I just knew that this is where I belonged.
It's funny how the origin story begins.
Right. I saw that play, as a matter of fact, and you were on a little roller scooter because you were
Yeah.
a Munchkin Mayor, and you were dancing around and strolling around. That was a pretty
right.
cool little part.
That's right. It was a great part, and I wasn't satisfied either because I was almost certain I was going to get to play the Scarecrow.
That's right. I remember.
That's
That's
what
what
I was gonna
and
guess you were.
I'd made
He's
it.
up for
I'd made a
something
giant
bigger.
mistake the year before. I'd been cast to play some small little part, and somehow or another, I didn't come through. And the teacher was rightly so upset with me. And even though I probably felt like that was my
But
it was
you
my
did-
part. But
you
she told me you're not going to get to play it because you dropped out the year before. And it taught me a lesson. First of all, you don't drop out of a play. You don't drop out of a show. You don't do it.
Yeah.
And second of all,
But you did great as the Munchkin Mayor.
second of all, make the best of what your job is. There's no small parts.
How
Just
you're?
small people.
I'm assuming you were tall then too.
Yeah, they sit us on a little stool with
Okay.
wheels, you know.
You
Okay.
roll around stage.
All right, because Munchkin
No,
Mayor
it's
does not
beautiful,
really
man.
akin
Suit.
to our family.
No, we're a little bit taller, a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you also, in high school, you were the lead in 42nd Street. So you finally did make the main stage.
I did. I got the lead.
42nd Street.
Okay.
Well, funny enough, as the lead in the 42nd Street, I didn't have to dance, you know. And in fact, when I was told I was cast, it said, you know, we have in 42nd Street, we need a lot of dancers and a lot of singers. And what we know for sure is you can't do any of that, but you can act. So
You're not Will Swenson.
thankfully, in the show 42nd Street, the acting is the biggest thing.
So if you know who Will Swenson is by chance,
I
He's like a
don't.
Will Swenson,
Broadway star right
he's,
now.
He's
amazing.
He's won a Tony.
Okay.
He's really, really good on Broadway, and he was a year younger than David.
Uh-huh.
And they to this day became friends. We'll get to that later when we talk about Singles Ward.
Uh-huh.
Who's Will Swenson starred in Singles Ward.
Okay.
But so the year that this is a real conversation. They're like, we could put Will in this, but we think you're the better actor.
That's funny. That's like
But
kind of
Will's by far the better dancer and the better singer by far. By far.
He's
Funny
won
how,
he's
like-
won a Tony.
It's like funny how
Yeah,
like,
no,
like
he's
small
amazing.
world, right? Like you two ended up becoming like these actors and stuff. I'm curious for when you graduated high school. Did you leave for California after you got home from your mission, or is it before that? I don't know how that timing goes out.
I graduated high school, went off to I got a nice scholarship to Southern Utah University.
Uh-huh.
Was there for a quarter, I guess. Maybe they were in the quarter system. And right after that, I went on my mission.
Mm-hmm.
I came back from a mission, went back to school.
With Uncle Mike.
At Southern
Uncle
Utah.
Mike was my roommate. We joined a great fraternity.
Sigma Chi. It was Delta Sigma Chi back then.
It was Delta Sigma Chi and became Sigma Chi while we were there. Beautiful thing. Brotherhood is a beautiful thing. In fact, I think the world. This is a tangent. Is it okay if I?
Go
It's
ahead.
what we do.
Go ahead.
It's our show.
I mean, I think the world needs kindness, you know. And I think one of my favorite things about Sigma Chi fraternity, where I went to school, was it was about treating each other with kindness. You know, like let the other guy in front of you in the lane. You know,
Mhm.
let the other guy over. You know, hold the door. You know, say thanks when someone holds the door for you.
Mhm.
You know, there's a real big need for kindness in the world. But anyway,
He's got a little Ellen on his nose.
Yeah, that's a.
Little Ellen.
Yeah, I see the Ellen.
Little
He
generous
grabbed
right
the
there.
nose. You probably missed the video. And Ellen has a video going viral right now, basically saying exactly what you said right now.
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
And now,
I just think kindness is missing in this world.
absolutely. And a lot of those,
No.
a lot of those people are still your really good friends today. I
Because-
know that
yeah.
because they're my friends.
and cousin
Well-
Mikey is now your brother too.
Yeah, well, he is. But I mean, the world's missing kindness is what it's missing.
Yeah. So you went to college.
And then, then I was qualified for 2 of the big national tournaments as a speech and debate, dramatic interpretation and speech to entertain and whatnot. And I got cast in a.
Oh, professional over there with his phone just dinging off. No,
I
it's
got
fine.
cast in a television show, and I
Which
said-
one?
It was called Last Chance. It was like Melrose on a Mountain. And it was a big CBS pilot. It was the first audition, my first professional audition I ever went to. And I booked it. And it fell on the weekend of one of the 2 national tournaments I was qualified for in college. I was getting about a C average. What's he doing?
He's doing this for the video afterwards.
I was getting about a C average. I knew college wasn't the way I was going to make my way in life, you know. And so since I got cast in the pilot, and it fell on the weekend of what I'd learned previously, if you say yes, I'm going to do it, you do it, right?
Yeah.
And I went to the debate coach and I said, I need to miss the smaller of the national tournaments. There's 2 of them. There's one that's not as well recognized, and one that's like the NCAA
NIT.
versus NIT. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and I was qualified for both. And I said, I have to miss the NIT, but I promise I'll win the NCAA if you let me out of the first one. And she said, you pick, you choose both. You come and do both of them, or you do neither of them. That's what she said to me. She said, what are you going to do with your life? Which I love her to this day for telling me, you pick something. You make your choice. And I said, thank you for all you've done for me. I'm leaving. And I checked out of school, and I went and I did the pilot, and decided at that point that's the life for me.
In the weird way, that's actually how you met Darren as well.
Along the way.
Along the way.
Not too far along, not too much further.
Just by those choices. So, you could have been a national champion.
I could have been a national champion.
Threw it all away.
And I probably at that point would have finished my education and been in a cubicle somewhere. I don't know.
Hey, Brady, you work in a cubicle?
But I promise
I have
you,
one. I don't.
I have an office, but it's more of a hallway, really.
It's basically a locker room.
Right.
I definitely wouldn't be speaking in this funny accent talking to you boys right now if I'd made a different choice. That's for sure.
Word.
It's kind of I always like hearing. I honestly, I don't think I've ever heard Dave your story,
His origin story
of how you got into this field and kind of changed our family's lives in a way.
He started it.
Yeah,
because we came from a lot of people that wanted to do it. He's the one that finally went and did do it.
Yeah, and I understand that Grandma was a big reason. Like she always wanted to be on Broadway. Is that kind of where you guys got?
She wanted to sing, and
she
did sing. I should say she did sing,
she still does.
Yeah,
and our mom gave up her hopes and dreams, to be our mom.
Your grandma.
Yeah,
to be your grandma. She did. She gave them up, and the funny thing is she's such a conservative. She's terrified of any of us making a life choice that could ultimately lead to sadness and failure.
Mm-hmm.
But
which one we pick?
But she lit the fire.
Yeah,
I remember her saying to me before I auditioned for The Wizard of Oz, which when you asked me at the very beginning, what's the one that made me go, oh, this is what I want to do with my life? It was The Wizard of Oz in my junior high school. I didn't want to audition for it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And she came to me and she said, David, I won't ever ask you ever to do it again. Just go audition for it this one time. And if you like it, you like it. And if you don't, you don't. And I'll never ask you again. And so, of course, I went and auditioned for it and became the Munchkin Mayor. And I wish I would have been the Scarecrow, whatever. And I had all these feelings about it, and it led me into this professional career. And I remember it wasn't too many years later when I dropped out of college. and she said to me, what are you doing with your life? And I said, I want to be an actor, Mom. And she said, when I encouraged you to do it, I meant to do it in school, not as a career. What's wrong with you?
Yes, I can see Grandma saying that.
Yeah.
And then you moved to...
But just to put a fine point on Grandma, she's one of the most selfless, kind, giving, generous human beings will ever any of us, you, me, the three of us here. There's none of us will ever meet a more generous human being than Grandma to you and Mom to us. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's always cool to see that because you see Grandma's influence, and you guys obviously, like my mom, she did plays growing up, but she never really got into it.
She was amazing in high school. Your mom.
I've seen Grease.
Oh man, your mom your mom used to be at the high school has a wonderful drama competition circuit, and your mom was the queen of it. She was everyone feared your mom. Absolutely,
I feared my mom.
and I remember the first time I really felt like I was any good at it. I was up against the second. There was two people at Taylorsville High School. Your mom and I don't remember the other gentleman's name, but I was up against him in the finals. And your mom came to me and said, "You're as good as he." I was a sophomore and he was a senior.
Mm.
And your mom came to me and said, "You're as good as he is. Don't be afraid of him." And I remember her coming to me and telling me
he took second, but
yeah,
but that encouragement,
yeah.
encouragement was important.
Yeah, no. All right, so then we moved to Los Angeles.
Yeah,
the Los Angeles first time.
Oh,
yeah. What's that like? Like kind of
first one to move out there.
You're leaving school. You're heading to California by yourself.
I bought a motorcycle.
He's got long hair.
I got long
Really?
hair.
Oh yeah.
My friend Robert Keith, I'd met him here. He's a photographer here. He's from L.A. Well, he's from Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
He's running one of the biggest jewelry businesses in the world. He's amazing. He's a beautifully I can't believe how creative this man is.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we became friends here, and I bought a motorcycle and decided I was going to move to Los Angeles. And I got all loaded up, and I decided I was going to leave just before the snow fell. And halfway between here and Payson, the snow fell. I stopped at your mom's house.
Yep.
She gave me some. We went and put all my stuff in the dryer, and got me a yellow wetsuit, and I just rode that bike through the snow all the way. I remember thinking I should turn back.
This is it.
Turn back, Dorothy.
Yeah.
But I kept going and kept going. I remember when I got to Nephi, I was driving in a snowstorm on a motorcycle with a duffel bag on the back of the motorcycle. And when I walked into the restaurant/hotel in Nephi, and I walked in.
One.
Even
whole
smaller
place-
than it is
Yeah.
now.
The whole place stood up and said, "He's alive!" Because all the truckers and all the cars that come by, and I was going as slow as I could on my motorcycle,
Yeah.
going through the grooves of everybody else driving through to try to just get my way down. He's alive!
That's crazy.
We
And
made it
then
this far.
I made it all the way. I got all the way to Los Angeles, and then on my first night there, I got mugged.
No way.
Yeah.
Wait, you can't leave it on that
It's
alone.
a beautiful note.
Yeah,
And
no,
with that
I got
note-
there, and we parked the bike, and we got in, and the next day we went out down to Melrose, and me and the lovely lady Annie, I need to find her and give her a big giant kiss and hug. She was moving down there with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went down to Melrose Place, and we not Melrose Place, that's Melrose Boulevard, and we walked off just a half a block, and two
Gentlemen.
gangsters put a knife in my belly, and one of them pushed her to the side and separated the two of us. They were pretty good at what they were doing, and
Wasn't their first rodeo.
they started to say to her, "Give us your stuff," and I'm not one to be pushed around, even to my own detriment. And I started to move forward, and they'd gotten her stuff. They separated us, which was smart because they could scare me with what they could do to her.
Mm-hmm.
And they took her bag, and they started to walk down the street, and I told her to run back towards Melrose, and I went after them, and they turned around and said, "Keep coming, and we'll shoot you." My first day in California, and I thought they're probably
telling the truth.
probably telling me the truth, and I had to turn around and back off.
Crazy.
That was my first night, yeah, and then I left eventually. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
And
So what you're saying is that everyone that leaves for California to expect
Instant fame
instant
money.
fame and mugging.
and mugging.
I tell you what, I do have a story, don't I?
You got a story?
Oh yeah, it's so much fun.
And besides that, another thing, like we talked about, Mom, I'd failed again, oh, I'm going to go follow my dreams. And I called Mom and Dad, and the first thing Dad said, and you've heard this 100 times, and you probably have heard it from your mom.
Mhm.
Doesn't sound like movie conversation, but I called Dad, and I said, "Dad, I guess it's not going to work. I can't stay here." I even tried to go to Vegas, spent the 1/3 of the rent that I had
To try to make
trying to make the rest of the rent, and I'm out of that too, and I can't even afford gas to get home. And he said, "Like I always told you, you always have a spot on my couch. Just get home. Here, I'll send you the money you need to get home. Just come home, and we'll start over again."
Take two.
Crazy.
Back to one.
Yeah, and
that was my first trip to LA.
And that was it kind of trickles down to my mom, because my mom has had the same impact on me in particular, because there's Steve's plug here, but Steve took his a little bit more of a financial route to his career, and he's found something that he's loved and everything. But I kind of respected what you, Jim, Nate, and Mike to an extent were able to do, because you guys went for your dreams, and I always kind of looked up to you guys because of that. And you set a good example for me. Obviously, mine isn't as extent of what you guys wanted to do, but I always wanted, like, in this field, my mom kind of saw you guys in me in a way that she kind of provided that opportunity. Is like, go and do what you want, because if you don't, then you're not going to be happy doing anything else. And
the advantage that you have, and that Jim and I have, the advantage that we have is good parents.
Yeah, exactly.
The real horrifying truth is a lot of those out there going after their dreams don't have the
support.
They don't have the support. They don't have the you just basically
Good.
go ahead.
Have you
I believe
listened?
in you. The I believe in you
Yeah,
is as important as I believe in myself.
exactly.
Have you heard the Brady on the radio yet?
On the radio?
Yeah, he's
I don't think I've actually told Dave.
Yeah, so tell him what you do here.
So about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks
Wait,
ago.
hold on a minute. This is about me, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah,
yes,
That
about
was
your
a joke.
family.
That was a joke.
Oh,
Keep
yeah.
telling. Keep
It's
telling.
about
No.
your family.
So basically, one of my good friends, JP, he got a promotion. He got a job opportunity to work for the Jazz. He was the executive producer for Spence Checkett's radio show, The Drive,
Yeah.
from 2 to 6. And I was the promotions director. And I went up to Spence, and I was like, Spence, I'm interested. I want this job because, you know, I like what I do, but I want to be on the radio. That's kind of the goal. So I went up to him, and then I went up to Bill, and I said, I'm interested. Bill Riley, kind of the head man here.
Yeah, of course.
And he
doesn't
was,
know Bill Riley.
and then Kayvon Moti, who's the president here, and I went up to all of them and said, I'm interested. And then like a week or two later, they brought me in and said, hey, we're going to make you the executive producer for The Drive. So I'm on the radio from 2 to 6
Every day?
every day.
First couple days, you could just tell he's going, oh, crap, I'm doing this now.
Right.
He's like,
I'm
and
so
he was
nervous.
he was so worried whenever he'd mess up.
Oh, yeah.
Like you could hear him just go, dude.
Yeah.
Like you could just hear. I'm like, oh no, but it's okay, dude. You're fine, man. It's like everyone screws up. And now he's starting. Now he's like 2 weeks, getting into his third week. He's really starting to get into it now. Now he's not so much like
It's fun, and so like I said, like it goes back to your guys' example of kind of always wanting to do what you want to do and not like kind
why
of
not me?
Why not me? Yeah, exactly. Someone's always got to. Someone's got to
not
do
me?
it. Someone's got to do it.
That's very kind of you to say, to pass on the accolades towards Jim and myself, but it's also
It's Jim and I.
It's
Say it right.
Jim and I, but also like to your mom and grandma and grandpa and kind of the way we were all raised.
All right, let's
You know.
keep this moving along, or else we're going to run out of time patting ourselves on the back.
we still got we hit the half
we
hour.
got-
Hey,
yeah,
no,
but
but
Dave's-
Brady, that's fantastic.
Dave's
Yeah.
got a long story. So
Fantastic.
how many times and how much money did you pass up saying no to Singles Ward? It's been long enough now. You can talk about it for real, because I know you were offered that role not once, not twice, and they kept coming
The
back
game is that down
and
in my,
asked
in my
and
living
asked
room.
and asked. He was supposed to be the star of Singles Ward, and they wrote it for him, and he was supposed to be. And
I don't know that they wrote it for me,
but they came at him and kept offering more money, and he just didn't want to do it. And
what I told him was, I
gave
said,
him
no, I just
Will's
said,
number.
no, I just said, look, I understand what you're trying to do, and I think that the only fair way is either pay me up front a fair amount. They wanted to pay nothing, you know.
Yeah.
I said, I know for certain that I could give this wonderful life. You know, I went on a mission and I loved it. I could give this a wonderful life, and I could also give it something that maybe your traditional missionary couldn't. And I said, but I also am smart enough to know that I won't be taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I just said,
It's a professional service.
pay me a bit up front. That's more fair, or give me some on the back end. And they just said no. They said no. They said we you know, I don't think at that point to their, you know, to I don't
and they
know,
made a nice little move. You know, what
I
the
don't
Singles
know
Ward
that
is.
they knew what they were about to create.
Yeah, and because it blew up the. I mean,
They
I
didn't know-
I know Richard Dutcher. They all say is the godfather of Mormon cinema because he started it with God's Army. But it was Singles Ward that really got the ball rolling.
It
Singles
was-
Ward's the one that made. And then it was
It's what we
RM,
started
and
to
then
call Mormon porn.
Mormon
you know?
porn.
I mean, it was,
It's
you
what
know,
it
it was what they wanted.
All right. And I can't because I wasn't in the auditions, but I've heard that when they went looking for the lead of RM, and Kirby did a great job in RM, and I don't watch a lot of the Mormon cinemas.
Kirby's
I just
great.
don't. But Kirby was
Will's
great. But I know that they, from rumor, I should say, that they went after a David Stevens type
Yeah.
for that one too. And Kirby's in, you know, I could see Kirby going up against Dave for a lot of the same parts. And not
He's doing
take
great.
and not
Where's
to
that?
yeah, he's doing great now. He's got his
What
show.
is Kirby doing?
He's on KBYU now. He's
Okay.
on the BYU TV. He's got
And
his own show.
I'm sure he made a ton of money out in L.A.
I
doing
saw him on a
commercials.
beer. I saw him
He
on a
was-
beer
Beer
commercial.
commercial. I remember seeing that on the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's on a beer commercial.
He did great. He's a charming,
good,
handsome,
good dude.
talented man. Yeah.
But yeah, that was all back in the day. And I remember them being in mom and dad's living room out on 3295, asking Dave, "Please, we need you to do this movie." And I'm like, "Way to say no! Way to say no!" Of course, I didn't go on a mission, so I had at that time I was a little rebel. I'm like,
Yeah.
I just all I
don't do it.
all I wanted, and it's something I've been fighting for ever since. And I think all artists need to fight for it.
pay me what I'm worth.
Not even that. Pay me what I'm worth. Absolutely, 100%. But also, I'll take the risk with you.
Yeah.
I'll ride the train with you, but make sure at the end when we get to the station
We make it all right.
that we're all square for the work we put
Well,
in.
it's like Napoleon Dynamite. They all said if we get paid, you get paid, and we all signed deferred contracts, which stated if they got paid, we got paid. Then MTV came out and bought it out, and the way we had terrible contracts because at the time they didn't know that it was going to be Napoleon Dynamite, and so everyone's like, "Man, that movie made so much money."
You must be rich.
Yeah, the guy who played Napoleon, John Heder, he made $1,500 for that movie. There was no back end. There was no endorsements. He made $1,500 to be Napoleon. That's why later he made money doing his other movies and then the cartoon. But for Napoleon Dynamite, he made squat, bupkis. And that movie made...
It's his biggest movie, most likely, I would say.
The biggest thing in
it's
art
not fair.
is you're terrified that you're not going to get another offer.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody just says yes because I want to do it, because as an artist I want to do it. But at a certain point you have to be willing to say pass.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't say pass at a certain point,
It's okay to say no.
At a certain point you're always going to be you're going to work for free forever.
Yeah, at some point you got to stop being an extra. At some
Scott
point
Hanks,
you got to be a featured extra. At some point you have to be...
You do extra work, exactly, Jim. You do extra work because you want the experience of being on a set, and once you've gotten that education, you move on and you don't ever do it again.
Nope, you never say yes again.
And then Scott Hanks, another wonderful human being in the world that's an actor along the way, said to me, I was along years and years and years before Scott Hanks came around, and he said, "Hey, David, what'd you get paid for this?" And I said, "Nothing. How about you?" He said, "Well, I refused to get nothing, so I asked for a 6-pack.
Something.
I said, "Did you get it?" He said, "Yeah." And it opened my eyes,
Yeah.
You don't...
Did you ask?
Then you start asking.
Ask. Yeah. No, that's good. That's true. It's true. All right, so now let's move this interview along. So now... no, I just mean that's what we got to do.
We have to hit the hour because this is an awesome story, and we'll definitely have Dave
have to come back. But we got to move it along to now. I'd like to ask the question. So of all the stuff you've done, and you have a very long IMDb list, and you're a sought after actor, and you get to kind of pick and choose at this point what you want to do versus is it a good opportunity? Blah blah. You can do whatever you pick the parts, whatever you want. It's a good opportunity. But which one could you pick out saying that's my best work? That's the one I'm most proud of. I wish people watch this one more. Which one's your underrated film? Which one's you're the one that didn't get noticed that you think should have?
Wow.
And give it some plug. I mean, that's a really good question.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. That's a really good question.
Your journalism
coming
out there, Jim.
I'll tell you this. I was thinking, I told the story about first time to L.A., and then there was another one, and then another one, and another one.
It might be another one.
But along the way, there was a trip to L.A. where I was thinking to myself that I needed to prove to myself that I could perform at the kind of level that I when I watch films, and I walk away going, wow, that feeling. I was asked to audition for a short film for UCLA to play the caretaker of a young man who, on his 30th birthday, he had cerebral palsy. On his 30th birthday, he just wanted a birthday kiss, is all he wanted. And I remember being asked while I was in I was being asked to go play the caretaker. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't want to play the caretaker. It would be a great role. It would be a fun role. It's an awesome role. It's a fantastic role. But I need to prove to myself before too much longer that I belong here.
Mm-hmm.
So I went into the audition, and I said to the director, I said, have you cast the man with cerebral palsy yet? And he said, well, I've got a guy in mind, but no, I haven't cast it yet. And I said, could I give it a shot? We grew up with a cousin, a couple, whatever, how many times removed, I don't know how it works. Was
Polygamous family was.
But
Yeah.
but Dennis and Karen's
Definitely.
boy,
Yeah.
that I remember being just captivated by, and I always remember having a real pure spot in my heart for that ailment, and I asked if I could just give it a try, and he said, well, yeah, you could give it a try, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to cast this other guy. And I said, do you want me to do it now, or do you want me to come back, in a few days? He said, well, let's just do it now because, and so just right on the spot, I remember just digging into what it might feel like to be, claustrophobic, in the body of a person that might not be able to do what your mind wants it to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I did just enough in that impromptu request to audition for a role that I was never even prepared to even read. And he said, okay, come back in a couple of days. I see what you're doing. Come back in a couple of days. Anyway, I ended up getting the role. And as you can hear with my voice right now, I'm not trying to just be. I'm speaking like this because I'm trying to make it to where I get to a point where I don't feel like I'm tricking myself, when I try to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So I talk like this in this voice because this is what I've got to go do. Anyway, so I stayed in the chair and I stayed with my cramped up arms. And on my birthday party scene, they had actors who really had cerebral palsy invited to come be part of my birthday scene. And I stayed in character, and I didn't, and I never broke. And during a break, this really lovely, beautiful young lady with severe cerebral palsy wheeled herself over during a break, and she started to stretch out my fingers. And I heard behind me the director and her mom, and I heard the director say, "What is she doing?" And the girl's mom said, "Oh, this is how they show affection. She likes him, and she wants him to help him relax his fingers because they're always so stressed out in there because their muscles are always so constricted." And I realized that I was doing two things. One was I was doing a really great job. And two, I had a great responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
And I realized I had to tell this girl, that I was.
Yeah, you're gonna walk out of there.
That I'm gonna walk out of there, and she's and she's in her chair forever.
She's dabbing your chin and getting the drool off.
And I had to, and I did, and I stepped up, and I said, and I took the mom aside. I said to the director, I said, "Jeff, I need to talk to the mom," and I said, "I need to tell her myself." And the girl, to her credit, was like, "Oh my goodness," But it was the first time. It was the first time that I'd been performing at a level that I felt like I didn't have a choice anymore.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, it was the first time that I realized that I did have a responsibility, which is when I started teaching.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answered the question.
What was the
or not.
movie that you did?
What was the movie?
It's called Ron's Night Out.
And
It was a short film.
Okay.
You can't find it.
Yeah, but it was up for consideration.
No, that was
Wasn't Ron's?
No, Ron's Night Out wasn't up for consideration
Huh.
for the Academy Award.
It was another movie that you did that
It
was
was
up.
another one.
Oh, must be nice.
What was the name of it? A Roller Coaster.
That was the one, really?
Yeah, that was the one where I was considered.
Oh, well.
Yeah, you can't find it. I guess
rest
your
in
question
peace.
was,
and we lost
okay.
Adam this year.
I know.
Yeah, Adam, the director, writer of Roller Coaster. He left us this year. Good man. I miss him already.
Yeah.
But yeah, so way to bring us down, Dave.
The last the movie you could go watch, I think, that maybe answers the question is For Robin the Dead.
See, I was gonna say that's my favorite one that I've
That's
seen.
the BYU film that did really well.
In fact, it's probably one of my favorite compliments. Is and again, it's the same reason.
Jean Baptiste.
It's the same reason why I'm talking like I'm talking right now. after a Q&A, months after the movie was done, I was answering questions in my normal American accent, and this couple from Marseille, France, which is where Jean-Baptiste was from, which I crafted with Emily Bernwurst, another beautiful artist. She helped me craft a Marseille, France-specific accent with a touch of Australian. And after the Q&A, this couple from Marseille, France, took me aside and said, "Why are you answering these questions in this ridiculous American accent?" They believed my Marseille, France accent from the movie more than they did
Your real voice.
my real voice.
It's crazy because that's one of like outside of this one that I'm hearing right now. I was like, wow, Dave's like really going for this like thick accent. It was really impressive, and I remember seeing that one on Netflix. I'm not sure if it's still there or not, but
It's out there. It's
out
a great movie.
Yeah.
It's got a great.
I'm sure you can buy it for pretty much nothing at this point, but it's a good one, and the whole family can watch. That's a good thing though about some of the Mormon movies that we do here. I'll give credit that at least like for the longest time, Mom would say, "When are you going to make something I can show my friends?" Because I mean we've gone this long and we haven't even brought up PunchDrunk Love, which you promised your listeners today we would talk about, but I guess
Funny enough, I did a Mark Wahlberg movie not too long ago.
Wow. It's coming
and
out soon.
one of the things I was most proud of is my character said the F word, and I went to, and I, specifically because of Mom saying I want my friends to watch the movie, I said to the director, I said, I think Mark's character is the bully, and I'm his buddy, I play his friend. Mm-hmm. I said, but the character I play is a sweetheart. Does he really need to cuss?
F-bombs?
Does he really need to drop F-bombs? And to the director's credit, he said, "No, you're right. Soften it up a bit." But specifically in the back of my mind, I was trying to make sure that Mom could watch it.
Could tell her friends about it.
That's awesome. Dave, we could sit here and talk about your journny and everything like that, and I'm glad
we got movies to talk about.
I'm glad you came back and you're able to, especially in this role right now, because a lot of people, and the large demographic of our listeners are aspiring actors,
yes, they are.
and
filmmakers
and artists in one way or another. So it's always good to have them or have this example of you, like what you're willing to do for a role. So
and just remember, if someone calls you a has-been, it's better to be a has-been than a never-have-been, right?
Yeah.
Never-have-been. They say there's 4 different stages of an actor's life.
Yeah.
One is, who the hell is Jim? The second one is, get me Jim.
And what happened to Jim?
The third one is, get me a Jim type.
Someone who looks like Jim.
Or acts like him or sounds like him or something because I can't afford him.
Uh-huh.
And then the fourth one, sadly, is,
Who's Jim?
Who's Jim?
Yeah.
Who's Jim? And then
I asked somebody
hopefully it starts over again.
I was bragging about, hey, yeah, I've met Jack Nicholson. I was bragging about it at one point. And this
who's Jack Nicholson?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah, no, that's
You've
the weird
gotten
thing. That's how I base all of my movies. Which ones I can pick or not is because I'm like, "Okay, you heard of this one?" And he's like, "Nope." I'm like, "Cool," and then we're good.
Let's do it. Before
I got Philip Seymour Hoffman to crack and actually be cool because I thought he was a total asshole for a long time, and he ended up being one of the
turns out to
sweetest
be one
people.
of the coolest. Yeah,
he's just in character the whole time.
Yeah.
Before we transition to a movie, I have a thing here for Jim that I didn't do in the open because I forgot. Did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
Of course I did.
So this Saturday they are having a special screening for El Camino.
El Camino!
So this is for you, and I also have one.
Yeah.
So it's at the Tower Theater, I believe.
Perfect.
And so it's...
hope I can find someone to go with.
Timing wise, it's up. We'll have to do some research, but yeah. For those that want to go, I believe they're just selling tickets. Just Jim and I have a free entrance. So if
some of that.
some of our friends that want to come with us, I'm in. I bet you guys could reach out to us and we could all go on Saturday. So it'll be like a fun little movie hour watch party for the El Camino. I've never watched Breaking Bad. I've seen 3 episodes.
You should just take a bunch of crystal meth and just start watching. Start cranking them out.
Did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
But don't just get a bunch of crystal meth. What you need to do is get like a whole bunch and just because plan on never stopping doing it.
Okay.
That's the thing about crystal crystal meth.
I'm not sure if you have. Did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
Excellent show.
that's something I need to catch. It's going to be on Netflix. So this
Cool.
is just they're doing. 'Cause I've heard good things about it, and then the reason why they're doing this is so that they can do it for award season, so they can win. So it can be up for award nominations and stuff like that. So that's why it's being
Consideration, which is
Exactly.
the same thing that Dave was trying to do with one of his movies. They're up for so they could be, the people looked at it because it was up for consideration. That's kind of the same thing, yeah.
cool. So
All right, movies.
That was thank you, Dave, again.
Yeah.
Am I done?
No,
you're done.
you saw both the films. We're gonna do Fletch, and we're gonna do.
But we're done talking about me.
Yeah,
Yes,
you're done.
This is your segment.
We'll
We
bring
went
you back.
over.
Don't you feel like it should be like a 2-hour show?
The movie
These-
Hours.
The movie Hours. Well, we're already discussing the 1 year mark show. We're gonna do we're gonna have Nate, Mike, you, and Jim,
Yeah, that'll be fun.
And then
And-
talk about Disney.
and talk about Disney. So I think that'll be a fun 1 year celebration show. But
So I want to talk Fletch first.
Let's do that,
So
Fletch.
Fletch, Chevy Chase. What
did you
year?
know this is my first Chevy Chase movie?
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. Oh, he was my hero growing up.
I can
Three
see that.
Amigos. I loved him, Steve Martin, and Martin Short. The three of them in Three Amigos were my heroes, especially Steve Martin. Steve Martin was number 1, but Chevy Chase was short, very close number 2, and then Martin Short's. But anyways, so what did you think? Please give a quick synopsis of Chape,
Chape,
Fletch, and then give us what you thought.
So Fletch is correct me if I'm wrong. He's a reporter solving a mystery.
Mystery reporter.
Yeah, he's a mystery reporter, and one of his friends came up to him, and that's where I kind of was really confused at the beginning. He was like, "Hey, I want you to kill me."
Wasn't one of his friends.
Oh, okay.
So he was at the beginning of the movie. He was doing one of his pictures or one of his papers, and he was doing research. And this guy had been watching him, thinking that he was a beach bum, had no life, and had no money. And so the guy that came to him and asked him to kill him was going to give him a lot of money to do it because he thought he didn't know he was a news reporter. He thought he was a homeless guy.
All right. Okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
And then so he goes on this wild goose chase. Which I thoroughly enjoyed how he was just able to lie his way through
All
many
those characters.
so many different things. And I just sat there just kind of in awe of Chevy Chase's he's not. I'll say he's from a first glance he's not an attractive dude.
No.
But like when you see him in his mannerisms, there's oh, he's actually a really attractive dude. And when you see these things, I'm like,
He's in it, man. The dude's
like-
in it.
and so there's many when he was the homeless guy. I thought that was pretty funny when he just had the bald cap and just was acting all crazy and stuff. When he was fixing the plane and they're like, all right, I need you to check the whatever. And he's like, all right. And then he opens the latch and it's the luggage and they're all like, huh. But I will say this is probably the most referenced Utah movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
Provo, Utah.
It's they said Provo, Utah probably 20 times.
Oh, yeah. Did you like the movie?
Yes. I still am having a hard time understanding what the plot of it was.
Okay.
But I enjoyed watching it.
It's from a series of books.
Okay.
And there is a sequel to this, which was still pretty good. It wasn't the best, but it was pretty good. But it's a series of books, and he was supposed to always make another one, and he never did because then it got word out that he's a huge dick, and nobody wanted to work with him, and it's really too bad.
Oh, Chevy?
Yeah, Chevy's not a good man. But what did you think, Dave? I know you've seen it.
I
when it
didn't
was
know
old
that
and-
he was hard to work with, but I was impressed. I haven't seen it since back when it came out, and I rewatched it because I knew I got to talk about it. And I was impressed with how I thought his acting, beyond just comedy timing, I thought his acting was really
He was so confident.
really so
I agree.
respectable. I was impressed watching, the concept of that movie, and I just was thoroughly, you revisit those shows when you're like, oh, what was I thinking? How did I like
did it
that?
stand up?
Was
Did
a
it?
kid.
It stood up like kind of like Jaws. I've recently rewatched Jaws.
Still good.
It stood up
The
again.
music might not be what you thought it was.
No,
and,
yeah, there's
but
all
the references, but
The-
basically the reason what he was uncovering was why are you having me, a homeless guy with no money? Why are you going to pay me all this money to kill you?
Okay.
And
And
that
why were the cops involved as they were?
That's exactly
It was a beautiful thing because the movie itself put the audience in the place of Chevy, and Chevy
trying
really
to work it out.
really played it as an
Moon River.
everyman.
That's what I was like. I've
He,
known
yeah, he
that.
wasn't too funny, and he wasn't too smart. He was just all of us trying to figure it
all the way
out.
to the knuckle.
So I remember, I know that reference, like the Moon River.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder, like, the
Where it came
context.
from, yeah.
And then I was like, oh, that's
It's
fun.
a great scene.
Yeah.
Using the whole knuckle or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was like you have a whole fist in there. I just slipped into that. I go into Dave's accent, like,
Right?
and I
It's
accidentally.
too hard not to. Gotta
But-
take a breath. No, I love Chevy Chase. And I still, even though, and it breaks my heart, he got fired from Community for being so hard to work with. And he's just not a good
What's wrong
dude.
with him?
And he just can't, like, when he went back to Saturday Night Live for the first time, him and Bill Murray got in a fist fight. And he's very rude to women. And he's,
Really?
like, oh, yeah, just says, like, the word, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't get to what you're supposed to doing. And, like, being very sexist, very not a good dude. And it's caused him his career.
That's too bad.
And because it's one of those things where I tell everyone all the time, I said, you can only put up with a piece of shit for so long, and eventually it's going to catch up to you. That's why Val Kilmer is the perfect example. Val Kilmer was the biggest movie star in the world, and now you say Val Kilmer and people don't even know who he was, but he was the biggest movie star. Not like, oh, Val Kilmer he was the
Well, not
biggest.
just movie star. He was talented.
Yeah, he's still talented.
I think there's a big difference between movie star
He's
and
trying to get it back now, but now his health is gone. So, but anyways, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no. He was. I mean,
and so
I'll tell you
it's
what.
just gotta be a good, decent person. All right, so movie number 2.
You got to be a good person.
You gotta be a good
do.
person. It comes back to what Dave said. Be nice.
Be a good
There's,
person.
wrong
there-
with
there's
nice?
there's a severe lack of kindness in the world.
You never know who you may have to work with.
Yeah.
And it's not just because you never know who you're going to run into.
Yeah.
It's just treat
good-
people right.
Be a good dude.
I was on a movie playing Jesse James in West Virginia, and I remember I was there for a whole month, and I remember walking into a store. I went to the same store every day, probably for a month, and I remember seeing whether the person had a suit on or it looked like they had just smoked from the crack pipe. Every single person that walked in the door of that store in West Virginia held the door for the person behind them. And there was it was just a part of who they were. They said thank you. If you hold the door, they said thank you. If there's something I have a problem with this world, someone holds the door for you, say thank you. Go through the door, but say thank you.
And don't get upset that I held the door open for you.
Just say thanks. It's not that hard. In fact, it's really awesome. Say thanks. And it makes the person who did the good thing want to do it again.
I don't feel like crap. I'm not a.
It makes them want to do it again.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? You want to squash the idea of kindness? Or do you want to perpetuate the idea of kindness?
Yeah.
Say thank you.
Yeah, it's a good.
I won't give my kids breakfast in the morning. I take it back if they don't say thank you. I hand them their eggs and their bacon, and if they don't say thanks, in
Rip
fact,
it out.
Danny, my daughter, always tells DJ when he forgets, say thank you, you're not going to get breakfast. Because I'm taking it away from him. You got to say thanks.
It's a good
It
life
is.
lesson.
All right, movie 2.
I went into this thinking that Chevy Chase had something to do with a basketball, something.
He did a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
He had a
He had
fantasy.
Some fantasies that he played for the Lakers.
So
6'8" with the afro.
and that's where that phrase came from. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, there's the quotes. So I gave Jim I let Jim watch Uncle Drew. Did you watch it before?
I never seen it before. I avoided this movie.
I watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what'd you think?
Okay, so I'll just give a quick rundown of the movie. A guy running basically a county rec team in New York for the biggest New York tournament. And this rival that he had a problem with when he was younger keeps getting it over on him, takes his team, takes his girl. And I still don't understand the Nick Kroll thing. And I really like the league, but I don't think Nick Kroll's that funny.
Yeah.
I think he could be a really good character actor,
The
but when
weird
he's
eyes, man.
but when he's doing his stand up, I don't think it's funny. I don't think he's funny, but I think he does funny stuff, but he's not a funny. But anyways, he's in the movie, and I think they wrote this part for Kevin Hart. And they couldn't get Kevin Hart. All the jokes are about the shorty, all the stuff they make fun of Kevin Hart about.
Yeah.
And I think they just brought in another short guy to
Rex
make it work.
Howery.
Yeah, who did a really good job in Get Out. That's
Yeah.
where they. But anyways, and so then they find these old guys who, even though they're old, it's Reggie Miller, it's Kyrie Irvin, it's Chris
O'Neal.
Webber, it's Shaq O'Neal, and Nate Robinson.
Yep.
And I hated the movie so bad. It was so bad. It was It reminded me of like a Nickelodeon like after school special
I agree.
or a Disney but PG-13 version. So the girlfriend kept saying, "It's for kids. It's for kids. Stop it. It's for kids." I'm like, "What kids are going to a PG-13 film?
Yeah.
Who's going to see it's not for kids. They didn't make this for kids." "Well, you don't understand because it doesn't." And I'm like, "You saying I can't follow the references? Because why?" I'm like, "I don't think it's funny. Doesn't mean not everyone thinks it's funny. I'm telling you, I don't think it's funny. So you can disagree with my opinion. And you can love this movie. My opinion is the movie stunk.
Yeah.
And it didn't deserve even the, what did it get? A 6.9 on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's 61%.
61%
So
on the Rotten
it's
Tomatoes.
fresh.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
And terrible jokes that weren't funny. And if it would have been flipped, what I would like to have seen is them actually hire really old people to play those parts.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't old people
Like
play
Kareem?
those parts? Why not?
You know,
Yeah.
right? Get Wilt Chamberlain.
Right.
Wilt's in the grave, but
Oh, is he dead?
Yeah, Will's dead.
Well,
He
then
might-
he'd be great at it
Yeah,
if he pulled that
exactly.
off, wouldn't he?
Be
Right?
great acting.
If we're whitewashing and putting white people in, like Prince of or what the one that Jake Gyllenhaal did,
Prince of Egypt.
Prince of
No, it's not. It's
but they
Prince of
do
Persia.
It's Prince of Persia, but they do the same thing for everything,
Yeah.
So why not actually cast old people?
Yeah. Instead, well, I mean,
Reggie Miller's okay. but-
Reggie, Kareem I think Kareem's in this, isn't he?
No, I
No.
don't know.
Okay,
Maybe-
but like they're like in their late 40s.
51 is how old Reggie Miller is.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So,
I'll just tell you, it's not that old.
It's not.
Dave, what'd you
Really
think
not
of the
that old.
movie? They're not actors.
No, it's fun. It was. I thought it was. It'd be great if they made the movie like that, and they said you can come watch it for $2.
Yeah.
Right. Or put
Yeah.
it on Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Put it on where he's like, okay, you already paid for your subscription. Yeah, to go to pay a $10, $15 movie price is.
And this movie
not
did
fair.
well.
Yeah, it made a lot of money.
It made a lot of money, and it started from a YouTube campaign.
Yeah.
I'll call it a campaign because I got in trouble because I didn't want to call it a commercial.
Commercial is a loose term.
Right.
It was on TV. It was a
Right.
commercial, but it was also a YouTube.
It's the same
series.
thing the Jackass guys did when they brought in Tony Hawk and Spike Jonze to play the old people.
Yeah.
And then show everyone, when they're actually skating against Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
That's basically what they did with Kyrie. Only
Yep.
put him in as a basketball player and then have him just dunk on people.
And I remember watching the shorts, and I love the
It's not a
shorts.
commercial.
They're funny. The shorts, like the idea of what they
But who
present.
paid for it?
Pepsi did.
But was it a Pepsi commercial?
It's hard to explain though, because like
It was for Pepsi.
like it's a sponsored thing for Pepsi. It's a 4-minute video on
It was a
YouTube.
ripoff of Jackass.
And yes, but it's a clever idea. I just don't think it does well being stretched into an hour and a half movie.
They couldn't stretch it to an hour and a half. That's why there's big segments. Like there's 45 minutes they could have cut out of that movie, but then
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been the hour and a half that you need to make it a feature.
Yeah.
I mean, there's times when Shaquille O'Neal's going room to room going, "You got a TV? You got a TV?"
I'm just surprised that you guys, just didn't kibosh the idea of making that one of the movies we talked about.
Yeah.
This is probably your worst.
It was, and I did it on purpose because I feel like we've had too many good movies.
Too many. We had to have something to get Jimmy all riled up. It caused a fight at home. I hated this
sorry.
movie so much.
It's like when I saw that, I was like, I probably should have.
You
picked
did.
it
You caused a fight at home. I hated this movie so much, and I couldn't stop telling
All right, you
everyone.
guys done with me, right?
No.
No, Dave, you could stay.
Sit your butt down. Did I say something to offend?
No. I have to go potty.
Oh yeah, we're almost done. So
We're almost done. Yeah, we got.
just
10
some quick movie news. I did see a few movies in the last week or so. Peter. Why do I keep saying Peanut Butter Falcon?
Okay, what'd you think?
Brilliant.
Yeah, right.
Everyone should go see Peanut Butter
it's
Falcon.
It's a happy film.
And I found out this week that the director was actually offered a lot of money to cast someone more bankable than the kid that they hired who has Down syndrome.
Yeah.
And so kind of going back to your point, they were telling, and he's like, how could I make this movie? Have you seen Peanut Butter Falcon with Shia LaBeouf?
I think it's still playing playing at the AMC Theater.
I highly suggest it. You'll love it.
The AMC Theater.
Shia did wonderful, and he's on the run, and he meets this kid who they put him in an old folks home because he has nowhere to go. And so the only way they could take care of him, they put him in an old folks home. So the old people even are going, like, trying to help him bust out. So he finally is on the lam. Shia LaBeouf's on the lam, and they kind of meet up and become friends, and he wants to become a world-class wrestler. And so they're Shy, like, okay, let's do it. And so that's the character that the kid wants to be. He's the Peanut Butter Falcon.
Shia has an I'll say Oscar moment in this movie, that speech he gives to the girl
when she was trying to do stuff for him.
Yeah,
she's like, stop that.
Yeah, and it's a good message for treating people with Down syndrome and how to
be polite.
And Shia's straight up like I don't accommodate things to him.
Stop treating him different.
Yeah.
He's strong. He can do things on his own. Leave him alone. Yeah. And this is the girl that's been taking care of him for the last 2-3 years.
Yeah, it's a real powerful movie, and I'm pretty sure it's still playing at the AMC right next to your house. So I suggest
check it.
Go over with Grandma.
I saw Joker.
Okay, and that's the thing. I think Shia is up for best actor, but I feel
right now,
walking.
I heard he got like a 16 or 17 minute standing ovation.
Which one was
wherever
it?
It premiered.
Venice, I think it was.
Yeah. It is creepy,
dude. It is. Not only is it creepy, it's and a lot of I've heard the people that are trying to bash on it. They're trying to say they're publicizing and bringing up honoring badness and stuff like that. And I don't think that's what they're actually doing, because it's a comic book story. But and he's one of the most notorious bad guys. But what they did is you watch someone go crazy, and you watched it happen,
and put up with bullying.
Yeah. Oh.
And eventually you see what bullying does to someone.
Did you watch Joker, Dave?
No, but I know for certain from what I've seen and from what I've heard, and I look forward to seeing it play out is
Robert De Niro is not a good talk show host. He's not. But there's a reason why he plays that part.
And I believe it's just an homage to
Taxi Driver.
To old. I was going to watch it this week because I haven't watched Taxi Driver.
Because it's just basically the same thing. You watch a guy go crazy.
And but yeah, that's
Dave's dancing over here, so we can wrap up.
Well, we can let Dave go to the bathroom.
We'll go to the bathroom by the time you get back.
Go to the bathroom, Dave, and we'll wrap up after. Yeah. I really enjoyed watching Walking Phoenix just kind of collapse, and it's an awesome parallel to Batman,
right?
Because you see the world taken from Batman, and this is kind of the opposing side. Is like what happens when the world is taken from the wrong person.
Yeah,
and
then Todd Phillips did a few things that are a little bit creepy. Like he used one of the songs that used to be played on all music or on rock stations or for in anthems all the time. When you hear it, he's on the stairs and he's dancing for the first time.
Yeah.
When the cops are up top. You know the guy that wrote that song? The reason why they don't play it anymore? Mm-hmm. He was a convicted child molester and not a good dude. That's why you don't hear that song anymore.
Okay.
Just because that dude's a piece of crap. And so he played that song during that time. So there's a little couple of things that Todd Phillips did that I think he didn't need to take it that far.
Did you think it was as because I went into
thinking cops outside.
Well, yeah, so I know mine too.
That was ridiculous.
But did you think that the overhype of violence was just completely unwarranted?
Yeah, there was no warrant for it. Absolutely warrantless.
There was maybe 2-3 scenes.
Everyone was like, "How much gun violence is it?" I'm "There's not. There's I guess he did use the gun the one time, but there's not that much violence.
4 shots go off in this movie, in my opinion, in my memory.
That's about right.
Yeah, there's about
maybe a full cartridge of shells.
Yeah, maybe that too.
Maybe that was it. I don't even think he had. Well, I guess he did in the bag when he got the. But anyways, brilliant film. I loved it, and I've seen it twice.
You've seen it twice,
yeah.
So you really liked it. Is this your favorite movie of the year so far?
So far,
okay.
This one and Peanut Butter Falcon are definitely on my 1 and 2.
See, I think if I were to rank, I think I would go Blinded by the Light, Joker, then Peanut Butter Falcon,
and I still got to see Farewell.
And the Farewell's up
but
there,
I just
too.
don't understand the.
It's a foreign film.
Yeah, I know, but I still don't think that the Crazy Rich Asians. I just didn't get that girl. The one that everyone's talking about. Not my kind of humor.
It's not
It's okay to like different
movie.
things. It's okay.
Exactly.
It's okay.
But yeah, so I'm thoroughly happy with the Joker. Judy's out right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that.
I was gonna.
I hear
watch...
Renee Zellweger. I got to meet Renee Zellweger one time doing a movie that Dave was PA in.
Yeah.
Called Jerry Maguire.
Uh-huh.
And I was told not to look at Tom Cruise when he came around, and he came around with his kids, and I didn't talk to him, but I was able to sit on screen one time and stand right before, and because Renee was nobody before that movie came out, I was standing right next to her. She's wearing this little gray I'll never forget. She's sweet.
Can I tell a sweet story about Renee?
Yeah, quickly.
Oh, thanks for letting me go, guys.
You're welcome.
I was the producer's the production designer's personal assistant on Jerry Maguire, and so I got to see the final screen test with Renee, and sadly don't know the other girl's name. You know, like one of the two of them was about to be a star,
and the other girl
so
who tells everyone, "I was the other girl."
I was the other girl. So Renee and the other girl at the screen test. Screen test, for anybody who's not familiar with it, is where basically like the last 2 or 3 final candidates who are kind of unknown, they go work with the lead actor, in this case Tom Cruise, and they film it as if it's part of the movie.
Yeah.
So you film some scenes,
See how it works.
and you really see not only like can you act under pressure, how do you look, you know, how do you pop, you know, on film, does the camera like you, and all that. Anyway, so it was Renee and this other girl, and I was working late, and the director was working late, and so I got to walk out of Stephen Lineweaver, the production designer's office, and run into
Renee Zellweger.
no, not Renee.
Oh, Tom.
No, not Tom.
Who?
The director of the movie.
Oh, and now I can't even think of his name.
Cameron
Crowe.
Crowe.
Yeah.
All right.
So Cameron Crowe comes walking out of James L. Brooks's office, and I come walking out of Stephen Lineweaver's office. Everybody's famous around there except me. And I walk out into the hallway, and Cameron's
Crowe did
scratching his
Almost
head.
Famous, and We Bought a Zoo that you picked
Okay,
earlier.
yeah.
Same guy.
Okay.
And Cameron was leaning against the wall, and I come walking out of Stephen Lineweaver's office, which is legitimate. Stephen Lineweaver is one of the finest production designers in Hollywood. In fact, he's probably got as good a reputation as any famous actor or movie star or producer or director you've ever heard of.
Yeah.
And I come walking out of his office, and Cameron Crowe's leaning against the wall, and he seems frustrated. I said, "You okay, Cameron?" He said, "Yeah, Dave." He knew my name. He said, "Yeah, I'm okay." I said, "You look frustrated." He said, "Yeah, I'm just in there fighting with Jim about who to hire for this role." I said, "You want to know what I think?" He said, "Yeah, I'd love to know what you think." I said, "I think Renee, hands down, was the finest by far. She was the most subtle. She was the most connected. She had she was by far, to me there was no choice." He said, "I can't believe you said that, because I've been fighting with Jim saying the same thing. And James L. Brooks is telling me he wants the other girl, but I want Renee, and I feel like what you just said is exactly what I think." He's like, "Anyway, I'm going home."
I'm going to go to my mansion now.
In the morning,
They hired him.
Renee
crazy.
Zellweger
And
was announced as the lead.
That's cool.
And we don't
Shoot.
want to take any more.
Yeah.
We're going over
we're
an hour
way
here.
over now. We'll come back.
we'll-
More stories with David Stevens.
We got.
Don't you think
Yep.
that you should send this podcast to Renee, though, so she knows she owes me a thank you?
Well,
Yeah,
she might be
definitely.
up for. She might be back in the spotlight. Talk about working your way
Oscar.
back
She's
into
amazing.
it. Yeah. So,
She'll
all right.
probably-
What's your movie for me this week? I got
Go with you first.
All right,
and-
because I'm going with the Halloween theme. We're getting
That's what
closer.
I was
We're in
gonna go to.
October, and this is a movie that was passed over and kind of forgotten. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I'm glad I'm going to have you go watch it. This little movie is called Clown.
Oh, gosh, is it? I've never seen it, but I'm assuming it's about clowns.
Nope,
Okay.
it's about a clown.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's about a guy. He rents a clown. Clown isn't able to get there. He does homes. He sells homes, and and he finds out the clown isn't going to make it. His daughter really wants a clown for her birthday. Got to do it. And so he just starts throwing at this house that he's trying to show in the basement. There's this thing of clothes. Tries to put together a clown outfit to go to his daughter's. To be a good dad, but terrible looking clown suit. Well, there's a problem with the suit that he put on that he found in this basement, and it turns into this whole thing.
Okay.
And,
All right.
And it is awesome.
All right. The movie I'm going is it a Halloween movie or is it a Christmas movie? Is the
Die Hard?
Yes. No, it is the Forever Conversation. It's one of my favorites as a little kid. We're gonna watch Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Tim Burton.
We got another cartoon. We've done a cartoon yet?
We've done
Toy Story. We did Toy Story.
We reviewed Toy Story. It
Yeah.
wasn't one of the challenges though.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's do that. And
Okay.
But yeah, without that, I believe that we are
out of time. Thank you for all who listened. Thank you for joining us. If it's your first episode, please feel free to go back, listen to some of the others. We'll of course have Dave. We'll have Dave back, and next time I need my brain to have some rest, we'll have you back in the big chair and asking the hard questions.
I can't get a rest because if not,
we can't get in here.
So anyway, thanks guys. There's no out. Well, I'll put the outro in.
Put it in later. Hi, Mom.